Not safe for work. What was your most embarrassing trip to the doctor?
Story 1.
Pretty sure I might win this one. Went to my family doctor with butt and stomach issues. And on the drive over, I was convinced she was going to stick the old finger up the bum for the first time. I'm a male 30s. When I got there, I told her my issues. She told me to get up on the exam table. As she turned around to get gloves, I was like, well, here goes, and proceeded to pull my pants down and bend over the exam table. She turned back around and audibly gasped in surprise at my bare beep bent over. Then she said, I only need to feel your stomach. You can pull your pants up. Beat my life. I physically cringed from this one. I was seeing a doctor for my yearly physical. He was going to check my prostate. I'd been over and dropped trouser. He was in the process of applying lube to his finger, and his cell phone rang. I can ignore the unprofessionalism of him not putting his phone on silent. However, answering the phone was a bit much. Turns out his daughter found an apartment she liked and wanted him to take a look at it. All the while my poor anus was drying out.
Story 2.
About 7 years ago, I woke up in the morning, yawned nice and wide, and pop dislocated my jaw stuck wide open. One trip to the ER later, the doctor safely popped it back in place. Easy, done and done, no pain. Grabbed some coffee on the way back. Went for another yawn since I was still tired. Pop! I dislocated my jaw twice in the same morning with a return trip to the ER not even an hour after I left the first time. To make matters worse, when the doctors had trouble putting it back in the second time. And because I was all tense and in pain, I was slightly sedated when someone I knew from high school came in, working in a hospital as a fellow. We're to try and catch up with one of the cool kids in school when you're drugged up, mouth stuck wide open, drooling and trying to grunt what you've been up to since high school.
Story 3.
Went to the ER with severe stomach pain. When the doctor finally saw me, they started pushing on my stomach asking where it hurts, and they dislodged the world's hugest fart. I farted for a solid minute. It smelled so bad my eyes were watering. I was cured. When my dad was young, he had been admitted to the hospital for chest pain. After being there for about a day, he rips the longest, loudest fart in his life. And suddenly the chest pain is gone. He got up, got dressed, and left. The chest pain was just a trap fart. Okay, to be fair though, gas pain can be some of the worst pain. Very true. Worst of my life was after eating a lot of garlic. Don't know if Buca di Beppo is still around. Italian family-style place with huge portions, but their garlic bread had whole slivers of garlic on it. On the drive home, I thought I was going to die holding back the gas and literal beep storm that was to follow once home.
Story 4.
Dentist had his fingers in my mouth and said light to his assistant in the room. I thought he said bite, so I bit him. Even typing this, I can't believe I bit my dentist. I did something similar as an adult, but it was the dental tech. She was putting in the x-ray film, and I thought she said bite. She said wait. I chomped right on her finger. She told me that I was the oldest patient to bite her. Oh, thank you for reminding me of my awful, embarrassing moment at the dentist. Finish my cleaning, dentist comes in and is looking my mouth over. Out of the blue, he asks me, you staying off the pot? Really, really weird question. But then again, I am not enough of an expert in dentistry to know if it's really an irrelevant question. I didn't even smoke weed or anything at the time. So I just was kind of surprised and said, yep, I'm all clean over her or something. He says, great, any questions for me? I try to be funny and say, yeah, do you know where I can buy some weed? Just saying it as a joke because it's weird he just asked me about pot. I realized pretty quickly as he is staring at me, completely baffled, that I have misread the situation. Then it clicks. I say, I'm sorry. I'm just realizing now. Did you ask me if I'm staying off pop, like soda? He nods his head yes. I actually just got up and walked out at that point, lol. It was pretty rough.
Story 5.
Went to the urologist for testicle pain. He said he wanted to try to look at it by transillumination, which apparently involves shining a bright light through my scrotum. I thought, okay, he's going to use some fancy equipment or something. Nope. He just flicks the lights off, whips out his personal phone from his pocket, turns on the flashlight, and proceeds to snug it right up underneath my ball sack. Not really embarrassing, but kind of weirded out that this doc is walking around with the mustiest phone in town. Coming from a medical provider, that's beeping disgusting. We have a dedicated flashlight for it that gets covered in a beep. After all, you have no idea where his ears have been.
Story 6.
I remember reading an embarrassing story in a magazine by a woman who had gone to the gynecologist and had to give a urine sample. She finished peeing only to realize there was no toilet paper. So, she grabbed a tissue from her purse. Later, when she was lying on the table, the doctor gave her a curious look before peeling a priority U.S. stamp from her labia. I read one where a lady did a quick freshening up with a washcloth before going in for her exam. Doc made some funny comments indicating he knew she must have freshened up. Got home, only to discover the washcloth she used had previously been used by her daughter to clean up glitter, which obviously made her very sparkling clean. LOL.
Story 7.
My poop was red. WebMD said I might have cancer. They asked me for a sample. Doctor called back a few days later and asked about my diet. Apparently, large quantities of Swedish fish will turn your poop red. I used to teach pre-K. I had this little girl who was an absolute delight. One day, I was helping her go to the bathroom and noticed bright red stains in her underwear. I panicked, and my mind went to the worst possible scenarios. Even though she was a happy child and showed zero signs of abuse or illness, I spoke with her mom. Turns out, the girl and her big brother were caught red-handed eating sugary red, cool Aid powder straight from the canister. Laughing my beep out. Peds ED nurse here. You wouldn't believe the number of kiddos we get in for bloody stool or rectal bleeding on a regular. So many that before we even do an assessment, we ask if they've eaten Takis in the last 2 to 3 hours. At least 90% have. I got my vasectomy on Halloween day. I was in all Louisville Cardinal gear college team. The nurse that came in the room to shave or make sure I was shaved, and Nummy just so happened to be dressed as a Kentucky Wildcats cheerleader for Halloween. Louisville and Kentucky hate each other and are rivals. I looked at her and said, I beg you, please don't take the rivalry into consideration right now. When I got my vasectomy, I was told that I would be shaved, so to save some time, I did it myself the day before. The doctor took one look at my hairless tested and said that they should hire me because I did such a good job and they didn't have to do anymore. I felt so accomplished.
If you enjoy our channel, we'd love to invite you to become a member. Joining is easy. Just click the join button on our channel homepage or beneath any of our videos. Your support means the world to us, and as a member, you'll gain access to exclusive perks and content. Thank you for being part of our community. We look forward to welcoming you as a member soon.